Hi. Thank you to the organizer for having me today. Good evening, everyone. I'm so grateful to have you as my audience today in Job Street Asia Biggest Career Fair 2022. Here is a little bit about myself before we talk about digital transformation, a bank of opportunities. I'm known as Sherry. I would always believe that I am a dynamic person. I love new ideas, innovation, and progress. To me, it is about what we know next so that we can move forward. What we know now so that we can move forward to what is next. I am a solution architect in banking and financial services industry. Now I am in RHB to scale its digital capabilities. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about digital transformation and its opportunity today. First, we will go through on the definition of digital transformation so you will understand what is digital transformation. Then I will walk you through the journey of digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. We will then go to the digital dream where we're going to look at the opportunities in today's digital transformation era. And last and most important, we will look at the digital transformation trend in 2022. I'll stop the screen sharing for now so that we can focus on what is digital transformation. Okay. What is digital transformation? Before we start, I want you to have the picture of a financial institution in your mind. So digital transformation, if we remember, it started in 2010. At least that's where I started with it. So digital transformation then is just a simple definition of improving performance of organization, where we look into what we can simplify and what we could automate. But now the definition has evolved into a little bit more detail, and this is my favorite definition of digital transformation. Digital transformation is defined as the integration of digital technologies into all areas of business. Most important, it looks into the way we foster the operation with collaboration, innovation, efficiency, and effectiveness to deliver value to our customers. The definition says this: all areas of business. And when we look into all areas of business, can you imagine what kind of opportunities in career lies in front of you? Okay, just now we have in mind a financial institution. Right now, let us expand further to look at the businesses in a financial institution. Can you name a few? Yeah, what we have experienced, or at least I have experienced day in, day out in a financial institution, is that we have corporate banking, we have investment banking, commercial banking, consumer banking, we have insurance, we have transaction banking. What is latest and greatest and hip right now is the digital banking. So if we look into all areas of this business and its ecosystem brings together, it will provide us with a very huge portfolio of career opportunities. Do you agree? Yeah. So if it lies within the business, there will be a requirement of talents into the business. There is another area that is also new that relates to this ecosystem, that is the data. However, we're not going to talk much about it, but we will probably go through it generally in our coming topic. Now that we have understand what is digital transformation, and we did have the mention of data, let me bring you to the second point of today's topic, which is the journey of digitalization, and digital transformation. So if we look into the Malaysian industry, all these three phases are still running. First, let's take a look at digitization. Digitization is very, very straightforward. It takes into the account of what is analog, what is manual, and translate it into a digital form. So it is still running in this area, in this organization today. And I'll give you one example, probably HR recruitment. When you go on board, you still have to fill in this stick of forms. But to make it easy for you to understand digitization, I'll give the example of our IC. If you remember IC, it used to be the blue card and Gen Y. Okay, Gen Y would know it. So it has been translated into a digitization format where we now have our chip-based ID. So the ID carries our information in a digitization format. So what is paper-based in this phase is being translated into computer-based. So what is next? Once we manage to digitize all the information and the data, that then comes the digitalization. Digitalization looks at the process, an individual process. Again, let us take a look at our ID. We already have our data in the chip. Agree? So how does the bank take this opportunity to simplify the process? So the bank takes the opportunity to simplify this process using our ID by simplifying its customer verification process. We no longer have to do all those ID eyeballing, but what we do is we slot in the IC and our data will be displayed. So that particular customer verification has been simplified in digitalization. The next process that the bank will do when it comes to digitalization is the process of probably inquire customer. Yeah, we have all the information from the card and then we do the process of integrating it to the next level in the bank where we extract the customer information. So that is where we see the digitalization process being put into production. When we have these individual processes, then there will be a time where it can cross our mind, what more can we do? What more can we do? Then we come into the era of digital transformation. So in the bank, you still have the picture of the financial institution in your mind. You have the picture of the businesses in your mind, and you already have the sample of the IC. What else can we do in digital transformation in the bank with IC? I believe we all have experienced it today, and I also believe that the COVID-19 has expedited. Any idea? It is actually the EKYC. We can't deny that it is being the thing right now. Why do I mention EKYC in digital transformation? To me, EKYC is the process of restructuring the way people or organization verify its customer. We used to have this IC, thumbprints, EKYC in digital transformation. If you look at the definition, it looks at the technology of face recognition, image scanning. It brings a different level of decision-making system and also into a risk system. So that is the way that we have seen how our ID evolved from digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. So in this journey in Malaysia, there are opportunities in all three areas. So when it comes to digitalization, it needs probably someone who can think of how we can turn a manual or a paper-based data into a digitized format. Then we look into people who can look into processes, specialists to think about what can we do meticulously to look into the process, simplify it, automate it. And when we come into digital experience, we need talent who's passionate about knowing with the massive data, how can we structure it into something that is useful and will bring ease of use to the customer. All these put together will bring you to a different level of digital experience, and we need people who is very keen to come on board. So when I've been mentioning people in here and in the bank, we know that the bank will have a lot of products and services, to name a few: CASA, term deposit, trading account, hire purchase loan, home loans, credit cards. How do we use this to bring a good digital experience to the customer? We need a team. So now let me share you what it takes in a digital team for us to bring in talent on board. Can we have a sharing session on the slide? Let me share you the slide. Yeah, okay. So digital theme. We have looked into the areas of business. Now let us drill down into the financial institution. It is huge, but when it comes to the digital talent, I am going to scope down into a digital department. A digital department in a digital transformation era is something that we need to take in, because it is a huge portfolio. In this department, you will see that it requires various interaction with the business. We can look at it from where it started, where we put in the technology strategy, then into the engineering part where we look into the computing infrastructure, we look into the ecosystem of the facilities. Then when we come into the development, we look into the services that we are going to deploy to production. We look into the process automation that we can bring into production. And in this area also, we will look into the solutioning that will determine the platform that it is going to be deployed into. And when these are all ready, it will be handed over to the product department, whereby the product owners are the one that will push this out to the customer. If you look at these, the ecosystem of the development itself, it matches with our definition of the digital transformation. It is the integration of all areas of business, and at the end of the day, it must bring the value to the customer. So when we understand the interaction in a digital department and the talent that we require in here, we will then understand the role that is played for each of the individual in the department. So let me bring you to the roles. So during the pre-project, where the business comes in with the business demand and the business requirement, we will have our solution architects to do the discovery. The solution architects are the roles or the talents that will co-create with the product owners, the business analysts, and the engineering design team to ensure that the requirements from the business can be turned into a specific outcome that is impactful to the customers. And when we have the idea, the hustle of the idea, we need to work with our prototype engineers so that the proof of concept and the proof of technology for the design can fit into the organization ecosystem. So that is where we do at the discovery part. When we look into the delivery part in digital transformation program, there will be a huge team of people because this is the core and the fundamental part where we build the product. So we will look into the grooming of the product from just a small requirement into a functional outcome. When that comes, we need the solution architect in the application whereby they are the one who's going to do the storytelling to put into the design of these services. Then once that is in, we actually need the developers to do the programming. They are the ones who will turn the business requirement into a code that can be used as later on as a product. We need people who's going to do the release management, the release manager. We need the engineering managers that will manage all the activities within the delivery units. What we have also next is the testers. The testers are the ones who will ensure that what is developed match with what is being put into the requirements. So apart from that, what is new and latest in the digital transformation is that we will have the DevOps teams. So these DevOps teams, they are the one who specialize to help the developers and the QAs to do the CI/CD and the operation of the deployment and maintaining the product, ensuring that the product is being put into a deployment process that can run smoothly in the production. Okay, so that is about the delivery. When it comes to the product being put into the production, we look into the operation of the application. What we need then is the SRE engineers. The SRE engineers, those are the people that have the tender loving and caring towards the application. They have to be very aware of what is happening. They have to know what to monitor, and should there be anything that is wrong with it, the application or the system, they will be able to alert the rest of the team. So this whole ecosystem is just one portion of the digital transformation. So beyond this technical team, if you look further, you will also see the business team. It is too huge for us to discuss in this session. But if there are areas which I like to put in here more, that is the risk management. Yeah, if you look into operationalizing things in digital, we need to look into the risk aspect, especially being in the financial institution. All right, so we will stop our sharing for now while we look into the fourth area. Can we stop the sharing now, please? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the next thing I would like to share with you is on the trends of digital transformation in year 2022. It is important and it is essential for us to know because it is the items that will sustain us throughout the digital transformation era. If you run a Google search, you'll find a few topics that relates to the trend of digital transformation in year 2022. I have chosen three, which are my personal favorites, to share with you today. The first one is customer experience. So when we talk about customer experience, customer is everything in every decision. So it is not only about the processes, it is also about the people, customer behavior change. So it is important for us to make sure that their experience fit into our business so that we will not be losing them. Okay, what we deploy must be impactful to our customers. So now, I have a question online. Before I go further, let's try to do. The question is, I have a 5 years of working experience in the field of human resource in retail industry. Is there a possibility of me to transfer into a digital transformation division? Thank you so much for your question. I like that question because what we look at in the retail industry and in the human resource, like what I said, it is the customer experience. Digital is everywhere and everything in a customer decision. If you are in the human resource, then your customer is the staff of that organization. So when you think about a transfer to a digital transformation department in the HR itself, we can have a digital department. So the trend for 2022, apart from the three with regards to the human resource, is the human capital management. We look into how we want to do a seamless onboarding of our staff, which is the customer of the HR. You remember I said earlier that onboarding process takes a lot of manual forms to be filled in, and there are times when we need to do the account opening separately. So if we have that digital transformation unit in HR, it can be the catalyst for us to digitalize or simplify and automate the way HR works. So that is how you can actually kickstart your digital transformation in the subunit in HR. That is just my recommendation to you. So the next thing when it comes to the trend for year 2022 in digital transformation is also my favorite, that is the supply chain management. If you look at the supply chain management, it goes from the product delivery. It can also handle the product shortages. We experienced this during the COVID MCO. What we can do next is what we have the opportunity next is to look into this supply chain management to identify the area that is manual, where we can digitize, and to look into processes where we can automate. And if the company is big, organization is ready enough, how we can integrate them with other ecosystem, so all this experience in the supply chain is seamless. To a bank or financial institution, a supply chain management is more than that. If we are able to get into supply chain management beyond the technology, it is also about the bank personnel, the bank's ability to give the SMEs, the corporation, the organization in the supply chain ecosystem, the financing, probably the cash management system, and the insurance system. So we all need people to actually work and come up with ideas on how we can make supply chain better in the coming years. The third one that I would like to share here in the trend of digital transformation is the Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 in digital transformation is interesting because it brings together the latest technology. Examples that I can dig out from the Industry 4.0 is the Internet of Things, machine learning, we have big data, we have artificial intelligence, we have the usage of sensors. So all this brings together. If we use it and bring it into the industry, it will bring a disruption, I would say. For example, in banking industry, if we look at how we can do credit cards, then probably we can think of how we can link credit cards to Internet of Things, IoT devices. So that's interesting to me. Take time to look at the three areas. Before I end this session, in conclusion, what I would like to say that we now know what is the definition of digital transformation. We know the journey that is in it, which is digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. In front of us, we have seen opportunities in the digital theme and also in the business theme that relates to digital transformation in organization. So therefore, the question is, how do we sustain in the era of digital transformation as a talent? Yeah. So in this session, I would like to call for action for you, those who are looking for jobs in digital transformation division, to look into our national 4IR policy, to look into our Malaysian digital economic blueprints and our financial sector blueprints, because that is the documents or the reference that will give you the roadmap of where we are heading in our digital transformation and digital economy in the next 5 years. Okay, so that's about it. I'm very conscious of the time. Do we have questions from the people? Yeah? No? All right. So if you have questions, you can put in your question. If not, then I would like to say thank you for being a great audience to me today, and all the best to you in digital transformation. Stay safe. Thank you so much.